Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today I've got my long-term review of the Mathews VX329. Before we get into the review, let's look at the specs of this bow, and this bow has a compact axle-to-axle length of just 29 inches, a brace height of 6 inches, and a rated speed of 340 feet per second. This bow also comes with some pretty interesting new technology and features, which I'll talk about here right now. First up is this bridge lock sight mount system. So while you can still mount a sight regularly on the side of the riser like anybody else, Mathews made this bridge lock system, which is absolutely genius, where you actually insert a dovetail right inside the middle of the riser. So it's as centered as you're going to get inside the bow. It's literally a one-screw system. The lockdown screw to tighten it and loosen it works splendidly, and it's just a cool little feature. They've got this little Excel sight that kind of matches up with that this year. I suspect other sight manufacturers will be joining the bridge lock world in just a little while. Also new is their Stay Afield System. Now this is something you actually have to purchase separately from Mathews. It's actually just a little kind of like a sturdy kind of wire wrapped in plastic that lets you make some string and cable adjustments. The cams have these posts on them right here, and you hook these loops. They look like end loops on your string basically, and hook one on each of those posts on the cam as you're kind of pulling it back a little bit, and then you actually replace your entire string or make twists or do whatever you need to do from the field. You could do this, from your backyard. I actually used this to set up my bow in the first place in the living room in my house. So I installed a peep and did everything I needed to do except shoot the bow without using a bow press whatsoever. Just use the Stay Afield system. It's a genius little design. As you can see here, I've also got a quiver installed on this bow, and this is one of Mathews' new low pro quivers. They've got both a fixed quiver, which this one is here, and they've got one that detaches. And what I like about them is just how low profile they are. I don't know how well you can see it on there, but they are basically just off of the riser. I think maybe having that bridge lock sight helps a little bit because there's no bulky sight coming off the side to get in the way, but they're ridiculously lightweight and super low profile, and kind of keep the whole design, I think, is to keep that weight centered on the bow. There's also, Mathews has like a stabilizer system. All these things are color matched to the bows, by the way. So there's a new stabilizer, there's new quivers, all color matched to whatever Mathews bow you like. It's just those are additional features you have to pick up separately from your Mathews dealer, but it's cool that they're all offered to kind of make this a complete package to looking as smooth and seamless as they possibly can. Now let's get to the actual review portion of this review. And we're going to start with the draw cycle because that's where I always like to start. And the V3X 29 has Mathews kind of, it almost seems like a patented ultra smooth, ultra linear draw cycle. No dip into the valley, just a smooth pull right into the back wall. It is maybe a little stiffer feeling than some of the other bows I've shot from Mathews in the last couple of years, and for that reason it kind of didn't win my draw cycle kind of shoot up video I posted a little while ago, but to a different shooter it might. I love how linear and kind of how linear that pull is. Like there's no discernible change until you get to the wall, and all of a sudden you could feel it's just lighter to hold, but there's no dip, nothing that kind of makes the draw cycle feel weird to me, which is a big bonus as far as I'm concerned. After the shot, you were greeted with typical Mathews quiet, vibration-free performance. Again, they've got this magic formula that's worked for them really since the Tri-X came out, and their bows are insanely quiet and insanely vibration-free, and this is absolutely no different. When it comes to actually shooting the bow, as far as like how it holds and everything like that, it does quite well. I shoot Mathews bows as well as I shoot any other hunting bow for the most part. I think the V3X I shot a few years ago, and maybe even the V3 shot last year might have been my favorites as far as overall accuracy goes. The 29 I don't think I shoot quite as well, and it might just be because of that shorter draw, axle-to-axle length rather. If they have a 33-inch bow this year, which I probably would have preferred as far as overall accuracy goes, but you lose some of that compact nature. So if you're in tight woods, you're in a really compact ground blind, or wherever you're hunting from that you want to be as small as you can, a 29-inch bow definitely has some value. I'm just a tall person with a long draw length, and that usually is not what I'm looking for the most part. To test for speed, I set up the V3X 29 with 30 inches of draw length and 70 pounds of draw weight. Now I got to that 30 inches of draw length using the 29.5-inch mods. Mathews typically runs about a half an inch long, and that is very much the same this year. It's 30 inches exactly. It was actually the shortest draw length I tested this year at 30 inches right on the money. I shot a 350 grain gold tip platinum pierce arrow, an average of 330 feet per second. That was the fastest of any bow I tested this year. This is and it was only 10 feet below its rated speed, which is actually the best any other bow did this year. I think the second place was 12 feet a second off their advertised speed. Mathews is just 10 off of there. I'm gonna guess if I used that 30-inch mod, that probably would have been more like 334, 335, something like that. The bows are plenty fast, and considering how quiet and vibration-free it is, to have this also be the fastest bow I tested this year is a big bonus for Mathews. When it comes to fit and finish, you would expect a flagship level bow to have flagship level looks, and this bow delivers. I really quite like this color package that Mathews has on here, especially with the matched quiver and the matched stabilizer. And overall, the whole package has held up very well. I've had this bow for a long time, and it has only got one small scratch up here on the top of the riser, and that was probably my fault, and so I can't really blame Mathews for that. The bow holds up very well, and yeah, it's a great looking long riser design. I've always liked that design for Mathews, and that's no different this year. As for value, the Mathews has a lot to offer. This bow comes in at $1,100. That is on the low end of all the hunting bows we're testing this year. These are flagship bows, so they're going to be expensive. But you know, there's another aluminum bow I tested this year that's $200 more. There's a carbon bow that's $700 more. So you know, when you're looking at price differences like that, that $1,100 price tag tends to have a lot of good value, especially when you look at the cool technology changes that Mathews has this year. Now you do have to buy that Stay Afield system separately, which doesn't help it as far as value goes. It would be great if that was included in the package, but you know, companies got to make money, and that's how they're making theirs. Overall, if you're looking for a bow that is a treat to draw, super smooth draw cycle, as fast as any bow I've tested this year, head to your local Mathews dealer and ask to test out the V3X 29.